Hello all, welcome to Spring 2017's mystery writing class. So, I'm very excited that you all are in the class. I didn't post a video lecture last week because I wanted to, get your feet wet with all of the discussion board posts. I mean, there was plenty for you to read and occupy yourselves with, so I figured, why not do a video lecture week 2 and give you some time. So congratulations on making it through the first week of class. I have graded everything as of right now, so all of your grades are updated for all of week 1. So going into week 2, everything looks pretty good. You've already started to post on the Edgar Allan Poe stories. Kind of to give you some background, some of the, some of my brainstorming for how I organized the course. For the next couple of weeks, you'll be reading primarily from the provided PDFs, and then I've provided a couple of, like YouTube audiobooks and optional movies for you to watch, and all of that stuff is just supplementing the primary idea that Edgar Allan Poe invented the mystery story. And so it's kind of interesting to be able to read that mystery story for the quality that it is, and then to move on to Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, who picked up where Edgar Allan Poe left off, and then to go into what we define as mystery now and what we know and love as mystery now, based primarily on, this Gothic writer, Edgar Allan Poe, who we all, read and study in high school, but don't really understand. And it was fascinating to me. A little bit of like literary biographical criticism is that Edgar Allan Poe died mysteriously. He disappeared, and I think it was 5 days before he died. I don't exactly remember how many days, but he disappeared a couple of days before he died. And he woke up. He was drunk on a bench. Nobody had any idea how he got there. His appearance was completely trashed. They whisk him off to the hospital, where he dies moments after arriving. And he says at the hospital, "Lord, have mercy on my poor soul." And so, for any of you who hate Poe, you're like, I can't believe he said that, whatever. But for those of us who love Poe, what's fascinating to me is that there is modern forensic evidence. Those of you forensic buffs in here, there's modern forensic evidence that supports the idea that Edgar Allan Poe was a detective. He was investigating the murder of Mary Rogers, a sensationalized murder that is still unsolved to this day. And arguably, and so this forensic anthropologist argues, Edgar Allan Poe, in fact, died because he was being targeted by the murderer in the Mary Rogers case. Isn't that fascinating? So fascinating. I love it. So something to keep in mind as you read that detective story. Not only did Edgar Allan Poe invent the detective novel, but arguably died because he was a detective. So pretty cool. What else? Let me look at my notes here for just a second. Just a couple of things about week 1 fussiness. Word counts. So as you already well know from having read all the stuff that I made you read, your discussion board serves the purpose of being in a class, because since we aren't meeting every day, and because feedback and critique is such an important element of reading and writing, I make you do all these discussion board posts. And ideally you have 2 a week. This last week was unusual because it was the first week of class. I wanted you to understand everything going into class. So for those of you who are completely overwhelmed in week 1, it's not always going to be like that. It was just like that this 1 week because we're getting started. But typically it's 2 discussion board posts a week. So you'll have 1 reading post and 1 exercise post. And so for both of your initial posts, please plan on 250 to 750 words. A minimum of 250 words tells me that you have intellectually engaged in the topic, which is really important for a class like this. And a maximum of 750 words, which is roughly a page and a half of writing, that keeps your peers from being completely bored. And I'm not saying that they read your work and are completely bored. What I am saying, though, is that when somebody is scrolling through the discussion board forum and trying to decide whose post to comment on, and they see that yours is longer than everyone else's, they're not going to read yours. And I want to make sure that everyone's posts have a fair shot. So please limit your posts at 750 words. What I love is that Vicky had a comment that said, writing is a rigorous process that takes time. And I love that because, especially as a teacher, both at Yavapai College and at Tri-City Prep, I identify that sometimes gifted students need more rigor. And more rigor does not mean more work, right? More rigor means more challenging work. And so that is the objective of this class. I don't want to overwhelm you with work, but I want to give you enough work that you stay challenged and you write to your potential, because that is the primary goal of a writing class, is to make sure that you're writing to your potential. Two other things on that same note. One is scheduling. Okay, so we live in a very busy world. Every single one of us struggles with things that we have to get done, right? So you have your work schedule, you have your school schedule. You have weekends like this last weekend where everyone's like, oh my gosh, we're going to have a snowpocalypse. Stay inside your house forever until we say come out, right? And then it ends up being rain. So you backed out of all your plans and then you made new ones and you didn't really feel like doing your work. I mean, it's a thing that happens. But my point is that we're human beings. We don't always feel like doing work. We don't always feel like writing, especially when you're writing something that sometimes feels less inspired or you're more challenged by. Sometimes you might not want to return to your writing, but I promise you, if you push through it, your writing will get better. Many of you take these writing classes because you are creating for yourself a writing schedule. You have a class that you're getting a grade for because you paid for it, and therein you are challenging yourself with a writing, like a rigorous writing schedule that works for you. So make it work for you. I'm the person that's creating the deadlines. I'm the person that's creating the schedule. But at the same time, you still have a lot of freedom. And for some of you, you have too much freedom, right? Because you procrastinate. And I think there's one of you out of all 17 who doesn't procrastinate. And even then, we all procrastinate to some degree. We're humans, right? That's like procrastination is part of prioritizing, trying to determine when to do something at what time. So judgment-free zone on the procrastination. I mean, we all check into the procrastination station sometimes. My point, though, is that you can't let that rule your world, and you can't write whenever you feel like it. The most successful thing that you can do for this class is to create a weekly schedule. You don't sit your butt in a chair for me at one set time of day at Yavapai College every week. So then you need to set that time for yourself. Whenever it works for you is fine, but it needs to work for you. So my biggest recommendation is that you pick a regular time to sit down and write. And that hopefully will carry you beyond my class into a writing schedule and a writing life that works for you, that can help you to fulfill your dreams, because many of you want to be published, successful writers. Not all of you, and that's fine, but many of you do. And if you do, then you definitely need to create a dedicated, committed writing schedule. From the perspective of somebody who has been a professional writer, I was a freelance writer for a while, so I put food on the table based on how much I wrote. I can guarantee you that unless you create a schedule for yourself, you will not stick to it. You can't just write when you feel like it. So, and then the other thing is, we did spend a lot of time talking about like critiques and what kindness was, and how to monitor your tone in an online class. And it really is important to talk about. I feel like a lot of these conversations are kind of par for the course for an online class, especially true for a creative writing class or a humanities course that involves a lot of interaction with other people and that kind of thing. Ultimately, it kind of disrupts your comfort zone by being in an artistic class of some kind. In this class, you will be sharing your work. And for a lot of people, that really comes from a vulnerable place. So I recommend that you continue to read the Daring Greatly Manifesto for this class. It really helped a lot of people, especially people who've even taken my class before. Ultimately, I want you to be able to approach each other as mutual human beings with a mutual vested interest in the class, and not so much out of somebody who's trying to check the box and get stuff done. And that's the other thing about schedules. You will be overwhelmed with this class if you procrastinate all the time. And that's the thing that concerns me. We all get busy, right? We all get busy all the time. Like, some of us live in a constant state of busy, right? But the thing is that you have to prioritize the other person's work enough. You will be in a critique group. You will have to read somebody else's writing. I mean, at the very least, you're reading other people's writing on a weekly basis, but we're going to be doing at least 2 critique groups. So you sit down and you do a critique group, and you're reading all the stories from everyone in your group. Of course you're not going to be a good critiquer if you've, crammed everything into the last 20 minutes before it's due. You can't be a kind reader that way. And so I would ask that you give other people's reading the same quality of reading that you expect, right? Because the critiques we've talked about, the writing we've talked about, but the reading I think is really important, because we need to prioritize studying other people's work and reading carefully and close reading and making notes on the draft, because that is truly what's going to help us for good, authentic, kind feedback. Let me see what else. It looks like all of my notes. The only remaining thing is, 1, buy your books. We won't be reading from our books until I think it's spring break or right before spring break. So you have a little bit of time, but don't wait till the last minute. Buy them now. And then the other thing is your draft. So you will be writing a mystery story for me. Yay. So start working on that. It's not going to be due until, I believe it's a week from today. I think. Week 3. Let me double check that just real quick. I don't want to give you any misinformation here. Okay, click on assignments, teacher. Teacher looking at assignments. Oh, good. It logged me out, so I need to log back in for a moment. Okay, well, while it's logging back in, your assignment that is upcoming is going to be a story. You're going to write a mystery story for me. Hopefully, the weekly exercise posts are helping you to synthesize your idea of a mystery story. That is the primary goal for them. If you want to write the exercise posts just to try out story ideas, that's fine too. But ideally, you're using the exercise posts to bring together your ideas for your story. And let's see, your story submission 1 is due Monday, January 30th. So yes, that is a week from today. It is due at noon. If you were to click on it, you would see it's called Submission 1 due Monday, January 30th at noon. If you were to click on it, you would see the assignment spec sheet, so you can click on that and read that. Please save as last name _ submission1.rtf. It's worth 100 points. I'm not going to explain it detail for detail, word for word, because you can read that. But do email me if you have any questions. But it is something to start thinking about. I mean, you have a week, but, back to that thing about schedules and procrastinating, right? We're human, it happens. So write me a story. Make it good. But no pressure. I mean, if you want to turn in something because it's rough and you need help, that's perfectly understandable. And if I'm being honest, I do that a lot. So yeah, I'm excited for this semester. I think we have a really good crew of people who've been in creative writing with us before, and we have some new names in there. I'm really excited to see what you all write, and I'm really hoping that you have fun in this class. I have fun, and so I'm hoping that you naturally have fun, because we're all just going to have fun together. That's the goal. Anyway, so welcome to week 2. Have a happy time writing, and enjoy your little tidbit about Edgar Allan Poe. All right, bye.